Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today I'm going to be talking about The Crown Conspiracy by Michael J. Sullivan, and this is book 1 in the Rivera Chronicles, and it is also book 1 in this 2-book bind-up, which is titled Theft of Swords. That was a mouthful, oh my god. Now, I'm not the best at classifying books, but this is kind of like a fantasy/high fantasy novel. And I also want to point out that I'm going to be pronouncing a lot of names wrong, because in my experience, fantasy books tend to have a lot of hard to pronounce names. So I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect when I went into the series, because I read mostly young adult books. Like 98% of what I read is young adult books. While I wouldn't classify this as a young adult book, it's pretty clean, I guess I would say, for lack of better words. If you are one who doesn't like, sex in every chapter, 5 pages worth of, sex scenes, or 5 pages worth of really gritty and gory battle details of, wounds and just blood and gore, this is something you might like. So, I like that. I appreciate that. While I am okay with a little blood and gore and a little bit of the sexy times, I can't do, huge sections worth of those at a time. So this book, we have a few different points of view. The 4 main characters we kind of follow are Royce, Hadrian, Arista, and Alaric. Royce and Hadrian are like a little duo. They are a pair of thieves, and they kind of form this little group that they call Rivera. And, they take on jobs for nobles and common people and whatnot for the right price. And they supposedly take on these impossible jobs. And I instantly fell in love with these 2 characters. They are fabulous, and the dynamic between them is really awesome, and I'm personally a huge sucker for duos that are made up of a dark and brooding guy and a goofball, which is basically, Royce and Hadrian. Royce is kind of this dark, somewhat grumpy guy, and Hadrian is just, his opposite. It's my favorite kind of duo, and they are fabulous, and the dialogue they exchange is perfect, and from the first chapter I read with them, I was instantly sold, and I knew I was gonna love this book in this series. And the other 2 characters we follow are Alaric and Arista, and they are basically the prince and princess of the kingdom that we are currently in. There are multiple kingdoms, and each kind of have a different political stance. There is quite a bit of politicalness in this book, so, if that's not your thing, this might not be the book for you. So, yeah, I'll get into more about Alaric and Arista later, probably in the spoilery bit. So, Royce and Adrian just get back from this job, and, good amount of pay, and immediately after, they are confronted with another job. And, Adrian and Royce have a few set of rules when taking on jobs. They don't do anything short notice because, they want to do some background checks and make sure that the job is, legit. So, of course, this job is going to be a last-minute job. This, guy claiming to be a duke says he needs Rivera to steal a sword. And Hadrian, being the good guy that he is, he wants to help him out. And it does help that this job pays a lot of money. A lot of money. And, he figures, oh, this sounds kind of easy. And, Adrian's like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. Royce is pissed at him. Adrian, manages to talk him into it. Hey, winter's coming, so, I know how much you hate the snow, and come on, do we really want to be outside in the freezing cold doing jobs when, this job could pay us enough so that we can, chill out for the whole winter and relax. So, they do the job, despite the fact that it really does scream trap. When I was reading this, I'm just like, this isn't gonna end well. This really is not gonna end well. It's too good to be true. And, it kinda is. Basically, I'm not counting this as a spoiler, since it's really strongly hinted at, if not outwardly spoken, on the back. So it's not really much of a spoiler, but they are basically framed for killing the king of this kingdom. And they are caught. But they manage to get a second chance to, save themselves. And that's really all I'm going to say in my non-spoiler bit, and I just want to reestablish this book was fabulous. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go into a more spoilery bit, so if you have not read The Crown Conspiracy yet, I really, really highly suggest you pick it up. And, come back for a discussion after. So yeah, that second chance that they got, the Princess Arista knows that, Royce and Hadrian did not kill her father, the king. And she, in return, manages to bust them out, but she has one condition. They are to kidnap her brother, the crown prince, and bring him to this place to talk to this person, Ezra Hodden, whose name I am probably mispronouncing, but bear with me. And they're just like, okay. And just how they handle the whole situation and, the dialogue is just... The dialogue between these two, I just could not help but find myself giggling at times, because it was greatly amusing, and I loved it. Just, Hadrian and Royce are two of my favorite characters of all time now, it's official. So yeah, they managed to kidnap Prince Alaric, and he's, sentenced them to being very painfully tortured publicly before being killed. So yeah, there's quite a bit of tension between the three of them for a while. But, slowly, very slowly throughout, the adventures they have bringing Alaric to this place, he kind of grows fond of them and realizes okay, you didn't murder my father, I guess. And he starts to believe that it's his sister who set up, their dad to be murdered. And I like the fact that for a while we really don't know if it's Arista who killed her father or not. For a good while it really looks like she did. But, if it's too obvious who the killer is, that's not really too much fun. You gotta have a twist in there. We actually find out that it was their uncle, Percy Braga, who killed the king. And he did this for, political reasons. As I'm not going to go too far into the politics, because I frankly suck at politics, and there are probably some things that I missed in the story, politics-wise. But there seems to be, 3 different, political groups going on, kind of jockeying for power. There are the nationalists, which are basically, the everyday people who want to have more power over their lives. They want a government where they have a say. Then there are the royalists, who, like to stay control of their little, kingdoms. They want to have control over their kingdoms and have no one, around to boss them around. So, Alaric and Arista, they're royalists. Then there are the imperialists. They basically want to join all the kingdoms into one big kingdom ruled by, one person, the heir of Norvin. So yeah, there's a lot of, political games and corruption going on. And it seems like, the king was killed off so that Percy could take over himself. So that, there's an imperialist in charge of this royalist kingdom. So that when they eventually find this heir of Norvin, they can, join the kingdoms more easily. And I guess they've been doing this with all the other royalist kingdoms as well. So yeah, but since, Arista and Alaric are still alive, he can't really become king yet. Because, there's 2 more people in line for the throne. So when, they meet Ezra Hodden, he, kind of helps them piece this together. He's actually a really, really old wizard. And he, was alive during the fall of this huge empire. And he, supposedly knew the heir of Norvin back in the day. The church locked him away back in the day because they thought that he was the one who killed off, the heiress family. So yeah, Ezra Hodden, he's been spending the last, 1,000 years in this, prison where time is just suspended and everything. And, this awesome group busts him out. Now that they know that, who the murderer is, they make plans to bust in there and take Percy down. Thankfully, Royce and Hadrian managed to help Alaric get back, save the day. And, Arista saved, Percy is killed, and Alaric is, gonna be made king. And, you know, he, of course, waives any charges against Royce and Hadrian. So yeah, this book was fabulous, and I'm really excited to continue on with the second book, which name I cannot pronounce currently. I'm probably going to have to look into that so I don't look like a total fool. Now, despite the fact that we've only seen a little bit of Gwen in this book, I ship her and Royce so hard it's not even funny. Just, they're adorable already, and I want them to be official. And I hope we do learn a little more about Royce and Hadrian's background, so I'm curious to see how that goes about. So yeah, all in all, I highly recommend this book. The world building is awesome, the characters are awesome, and just everything is awesome. This book is just full of awesomeness. So yeah, that's it for this book review, and I hope to see you guys next time. Keep on reading, my fellow book addicts. Keep on reading.